My racist tenants cut my family's 80-year-old magnolia trees and the first time I saw the damage, I felt my chest tighten so hard I thought I might collapse. Those trees had been in my family for generations. They shaded our yard in summer, filled the air with their heavy scent in spring, and had been witnesses to countless family gatherings, birthdays, and quiet afternoons on the porch. They weren't just trees. They were part of our home, part of our history. It started when we rented out the back house to a young couple, a pair who seemed nice enough at first, polite, quiet, paying their rent on time. But it didn't take long for small things to make me uneasy. Complaints about the neighborhood, offhand remarks about the people walking by, little digs that didn't sit right. My wife noticed them too, but I wanted to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were just careless with their words. One Saturday morning, I went outside to enjoy my coffee on the porch and froze. My magnolia trees, 3 of them, massive, beautiful, old as the house itself, had been hacked down. Branches lay scattered across the lawn, splintered and bleeding sap. The sight was grotesque, a violent assault on something that had been alive for nearly a century. I sprinted toward the back house, yelling their names. The couple came out, looking sheepish at first, but then defensive. "We needed the sunlight," one of them said. "They were blocking our windows. It's not like it was your precious tree's fault." I could feel my blood boiling, a mix of rage and disbelief. These aren't just trees. They've been here for 80 years. They've been part of my family, part of this house, part of the neighborhood. How could you just cut them down? The other rolled their eyes. "We're tired of all this neighborhood stuff, all these old people. We wanted space, more light. It's your fault for having them here in the first place." I realized then that it wasn't just about sunlight or landscaping. The anger, the disdain in their voices, it was deeper, uglier. It was about who we were, who lived here, and what we represented. The trees weren't just an obstacle, they were a symbol, and they hated it. I called the police, though they didn't do much. "Civil matter," they said. "We can't force someone to replace a tree." And they were right. There was no law to bring my magnolias back to life. No rule to undo decades of growth in history. Just a couple of people who didn't respect boundaries, or humanity. For days I wandered the yard, picking up branches, feeling the hollowness of the gaps where the trees had been. The air smelled different. The shadows were gone. Even the birds seemed to notice, moving away from the sudden emptiness. My kids were devastated, crying over the chopped up bark and fallen petals. My wife tried to hold it together, but I could see the heartbreak in her eyes, mirroring my own. We didn't speak to the tenants for a while. They avoided us, probably realizing they'd crossed a line we couldn't forgive. Eventually, we served them notice and began the process of evicting them. It wasn't revenge, it wasn't satisfaction. It was reclaiming our home, asserting that they could not control or destroy what didn't belong to them. Replacing the magnolias wasn't possible. Not truly. We planted young trees, hoping they would grow, hoping they would someday provide shade and fragrance like the originals. But no sapling could fill the void of 80 years. Of history lost in a single violent morning. The neighborhood rallied, neighbors offering help, sharing stories of the old magnolias, remembering picnics and family cookouts that had taken place under their boughs. Their support was comforting, a reminder that the destruction was not the end, that what had been lived and loved couldn't be erased by ignorance and hate. It took a long time to stop seeing their faces in every broken branch, to stop hearing their sneers in the rustle of the leaves, but eventually the anger softened into resolve. The trees were gone, yes, but their legacy remained. The yard still held our memories, our lives, our history, and the new saplings, fragile as they were, carried the promise that what had been lost could one day be replaced, even if only in part. I still walk past the empty spaces where the magnolias once stood and feel the loss, but I also see the new growth, the persistence of life despite cruelty. And I remember that even though the tenants tried to destroy something beautiful and sacred, they could not erase what those trees meant to us. Our history, our love, our family, it's still here, and nothing they did can take that away.